James had always believed that his mechanical engineering degree would land him a decent job on Earth, maybe designing spacecraft components or working on orbital stations. He never imagined it would make him the most sought-after individual in the Zephyrian Empire. The day everything changed started like any other aboard the diplomatic vessel Harmony. James was part of the human delegation's technical support team, tasked with maintaining the ship's systems during the historic first contact negotiations with the Zephyrians. The aliens were an advanced species, their technology centuries ahead of humanity's. Yet they had approached Earth with surprising humility, seeking trade and cultural exchange. "James, can you check the atmospheric recyclers in Section 7? Called out Liza, the mission's chief engineer and his closest friend since their academy days. Her voice carried its usual no-nonsense tone, but he detected an underlying tension. Everyone was nervous about today's formal presentation to the Zephyrian royal court. "On it," James replied, grabbing his toolkit. As he made his way through the ship's corridors, he couldn't help but marvel at how far humanity had come. 3 years ago, they didn't even know aliens existed. Now they were sitting across the negotiation table from a galactic civilization. The atmospheric recycler was acting up again, a common issue with the older human technology when interfacing with Zephyrian environmental systems. James had become something of a specialist at jury-rigging solutions that made their primitive equipment compatible with alien tech. It wasn't elegant, but it worked. As he worked, replacing corroded circuits with improvised alternatives, James reflected on the past weeks of negotiations. The Zephyrians were fascinating, tall, graceful, beings with crystalline skin that shifted colors based on their emotions. Their Princess Zathara had been particularly intriguing during the technical demonstrations, asking pointed questions about human engineering that surprised even the delegation's senior scientists. "There you are," Liza's voice interrupted his thoughts as she appeared in the doorway. "We're needed in the main conference room. The Zephyrians want to observe our primitive ingenuity in action." James wiped his hands on his coveralls and followed her. The conference room buzzed with activity. Human diplomats in formal attire mingled nervously with Zephyrian observers whose skin flickered between curious blue and cautious yellow. At the center of it all sat the royal family, Emperor Vorthak, Empress Melara, and their daughter Princess Zathara. "Ah, there's our miracle worker," announced Ambassador Chen, the mission leader. "Your Majesties, this is James Morrison, our technical specialist who has been keeping our systems operational during our stay." The princess's crystalline skin immediately shifted to a brilliant gold, a color James had learned indicated intense interest. She leaned forward, studying him with large, multifaceted eyes. "This is the human who made your primitive atmospheric systems compatible with our ship's environment?" she asked, her voice carrying musical overtones that their translation devices couldn't quite capture. "Yes, Your Highness," James replied, suddenly aware of every human diplomat's eyes on him. "I just used some creative problem-solving to bridge the technological gap." "Show me," she commanded, standing gracefully. The entire room held its breath. For the next hour, James found himself explaining human engineering principles to an alien princess who seemed to grasp concepts faster than most of his university professors. She asked about resource constraints, about making do with limited materials, about the human tendency to find unconventional solutions to complex problems. "Fascinating," Princess Zathara murmured, as James finished demonstrating how he'd jury-rigged their quantum communicator to work with Zephyrian relay systems, using nothing but spare parts and determination. "Your species' ability to innovate under pressure is remarkable." Her skin had cycled through several colors during the demonstration, finally settling on a deep purple that James didn't recognize. The Emperor and Empress exchanged what seemed to be meaningful glances. "Princess," the Emperor said carefully, "perhaps we should discuss." But Zathara had already made her decision. She turned to face her parents, her skin blazing with confident gold, and raised her arm to point directly at James. "I want him," she declared, her voice carrying absolute conviction, "as my chief innovation advisor." The silence that followed was deafening. James felt every human in the room staring at him while the Zephyrian court erupted in excited chittering. Liza's jaw had dropped open, and Ambassador Chen looked like he was calculating the diplomatic implications of this unexpected development. "Your Highness," James managed to stammer, "I'm flattered, but—" "You misunderstand the honor being offered," the Empress interjected, her own skin shifting to respectful silver. "The position of Chief Innovation Advisor is the highest technical appointment in our empire. It comes with authority over all research and development initiatives." "But I'm human," James protested. "I don't know anything about your technology." Princess Zathara's skin flickered with what James was beginning to recognize as amusement. "Precisely why we need you. Our civilization has become complacent, too reliant on established solutions. We've forgotten how to truly innovate. Your species still remembers." She gestured toward his jury-rigged equipment. "You took our advanced technology and made it better using primitive components and creative thinking. That's not a flaw to overcome. It's a strength to cultivate." The Emperor nodded slowly. "Our daughter speaks wisdom. The Zephyrian Empire has grown stagnant. Perhaps what we need is not more advanced technology, but a more human approach to using what we have." James looked around the room, meeting Liza's encouraging smile and Ambassador Chen's cautious nod. The weight of representing not just himself, but all of humanity in this new role settled on his shoulders. "I accept," he said finally, "on one condition. I bring my team with me, including Chief Engineer Liza Santos. Humans work better together." Princess Zathara's skin burst into brilliant rainbow patterns that could only mean joy. "Agreed. Welcome to the future, James Morrison. Our future." As the Zephyrian court erupted in celebration and human diplomats began frantically updating their reports, James realized that sometimes the greatest adventures began not with grand gestures, but with simple competence, genuine curiosity, and the very human ability to make something work against all odds. The galaxy, it seemed, had been waiting for that particular combination.